Hey everybody, I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just want to issue major spoiler alert. We are going to be going over everything that happened in episode 1 and 2 of the new Ahsoka series. So if you haven't watched those episodes yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Disneyplus, check out both of those episodes, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down everything for episode 1 and 2 of the new Ahsoka series, it's Jon Rico.
Star Wars is freaking back, baby.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hello there. That
Hi there.
and our recaps are back. We had a little bit of a break there. It felt a little weird, getting there and like starting the week and not like, prepping to recap anything. We had a little lull there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Happy to be back. Now we're like full steam ahead. Like we have movies, we have shows, rest of the year is going to be busy. So
Absolutely.
and by the way, at the time of recording, we're still mid strike for everything. So we were talking about this last night, so we just wanted to make sure we addressed it. We are recapping stuff that was written, recorded, and all edited out before strike stuff. So like that's kind of where we are. Like if we ever get to the point where we're past that line, we'll ease everything back a little bit to kind of stay with everybody who's to be in solidarity with everyone who's on strike right now. So
Pay the writers, pay the actors.
exactly.
Yeah.
They just want fair wages. That's what we need. But anyway, we could go on and on with about that. But I just wanted to make sure that we did address it now that this is our first our first recap back, during all of this. So anyway, Ahsoka episodes 1 and 2. We were lucky enough for this series to get a 2-episode premiere, which is, you know what, I'm all for, especially when they roll like one episode right into the next. I do like the 2-episode premiere. Now these are very long, which doesn't feel like long, but like when I looked at them, like you were like, oh hey, are you gonna be able to watch these before we need to record? And I was like, shit, it's almost 2 hours worth of content I gotta watch.
It's basically a 90-minute movie. Yeah,
right.
Start off.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's so much I want to talk about in this, and so I'm gonna go right into it. Even before this, I love Ahsoka. I think when she first popped up in like live action in Mandalorian, awesome. And I was immediately in, but even previous that, talk about Clone Wars. I feel a blue connection with Ahsoka. But I do have to say, from the first 2 episodes, now I went into it like going, I like Ahsoka. Ahsoka is my character. You know what? I loved Sabine's intro. I was telling you this before we started recording. It almost felt like her intro there. Like I realized, a lot of people that are coming from Clone Wars and Rebels already knew Sabine, and this isn't their intro. But I'm talking about for me and maybe for the other people out there who, are starting this series fresh, haven't watched maybe all of Clone Wars, haven't watched any Rebels, or at least haven't watched that many. No matter what, first live action introduction to Sabine, my first real introduction to Sabine as a character anyway, kind of almost felt like on the same level with Spider-Punk from Across the Spider-Verse. We got like, her kind of, not wanting to go to the ceremony or anything like that. And we got like some cool music and, she's on a speeder bike. I just liked that feel, like that introduction. I was like, Sabine's going to be my character for the series. Like I was in, I liked that. I liked her, like that kind of punky feeling of a character and that wild card feel that like Spider-Punk. I mean, I really liked that. The other thing I have to say about Sabine is if we don't already have a plush version of her pet, there needs to be one made like immediately, because I already want one. I would definitely shell out, $30 for a plush version of her pet. That it's done. That money is already spent in my head for when it gets released, because it's not if it's going to be when. So Disney's getting my money for a plush version of Sabine's pet. But yeah, I mean, overall, loved the first 2 episodes. Definitely excited for the rest of this season. Hopefully, maybe we'll work it into the Mandoverse, and we'll get more seasons with these characters kind of intertwined. But yeah, I mean, so far, I'm really digging the series. Rico, what were some of your initial impressions for episodes 1 and 2 of Ahsoka?
Yeah, these first 2 episodes definitely delivered. With the high expectations especially for a Rebels fan like me going into them, it's pitched as basically Rebels season 5, which I love already because I get to see all these characters. I love watching an animation just come to life, and there's some really amazing performances behind them. I think you talked a little bit about Sabine. I think Sabine is definitely going to be a standout character in the show for sure because of especially given her relationship with Ahsoka going into the series. I think that's a really cool little kind of a jumping off point for these 2 characters to kind of go off and make a good little a good story arc for the season for them. Um, and also love seeing Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera. I just think she's really well cast in that role, and I'm really excited to see her as like kind of a leader of the rebellion, kind of now in this new role as a general. Well, she's always been a general, but like in this new age after the Empire's been defeated, so it's kind of really cool to see like the stories of these characters continue on after the events of in Rebels and seeing how it's going to play into the season.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's going to be really cool because I started to get into it a little bit. I've watched, if not all, then definitely a majority of Clone Wars, but I haven't had the chance to watch Rebels. So I'm coming from the background. Now I watched some, videos of here's the information you need before you get into Ahsoka. So I do know some things and know some connections and stuff like that. But it's going to be really cool while we're recapping this season of Ahsoka, where I'm coming from. Some of this stuff is, fresh. I don't understand a couple of like the backstory and the backgrounds between like relationships between characters and stuff like that. And you do. So it's going to be really cool. We're going to kind of be able to get the viewpoints of 2 different sides of it, because there's definitely going to be people that are watching these recap videos that, are going to be more like me. They've started Rebels but haven't finished them, or haven't really watched any Rebels. And there's going to be like people like you who have watched, all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels, went through almost like a second full rewatch of Rebels before Ahsoka came out, type of thing. Right. So like really aware of like all the connections and the backstories and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be really cool to kind of have those 2 kind of sides of describing things for the whole season, type of thing.
Yeah, and we've got a really cool taste of like our the kind of the villains for this season as well. Of course,
Oh,
we
yeah.
got we'll talk a little bit more about Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati a little bit later, but also Morgan Elsbeth comes back from season 2 of Mandalorian. She's obviously from the episode that Ahsoka first live action debut as well. I think she was known as the Magistrate or something like that back then, or she was working with that character. But she is ultimately how we learned that Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn, basically, and we know that she's looking for Thrawn because they're looking for Ezra. But I thought that was something that was really cool that was revealed in this episode. I think is that she's actually a night sister of Dathomir, which of course is Dathomir is where Maul's from, and it's like there's a whole kind of like there was a whole the coven of like witches that knows the Night Sisters who dealt in like just a different type of magic. One character famously, Marin, is in the Jedi Fallen Order games. She's a really great character. But now we've seen a live action Night Sister now in Star Wars, so I thought that was like, dang, Filoni's like doing some really cool stuff with this series and adding some really cool elements in there that we haven't seen in live action yet. And I'm really excited.
Yeah, and when they said witch, all I could think of some of the sound bites that you use while you're Twitch streaming and stuff.
Witch! Witch!
Yeah.
That one.
As soon as somebody said she's a witch, I was like, that's it. That's all I could hear. That's all I could think of. Yeah.
That's all I hear.
Witch! All right. Do you want to get into some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to kick off big takeaways. I'm going to kick it off with, I'm going to give out 2 awards. I don't know what I'm going to call these awards, so they're just going to be ad-libbed on the spot right here. But I had to make note of both of these scenes because they were incredible. And I was just like, at both of them, I was just like, holy shit. First, I'm going chronological order. It has nothing to do with ranking of scenes or anything like that. Chronological order is it's very early in the first episode. So we get Baylan when they are landing on the ship to kind of break the witch out of her prison. We get the captain of the ship goes down to meet them and goes, I know you're not Jedi. You work for you were working for the Empire. You're just getting caught. Right. What's your real identity? And the coldest line delivery I've ever seen. He just goes, "You're right, Captain. We're not Jedi," and then just stabs him with a lightsaber. I was like, that gave me chills. So coldest motherfucker of the galaxy, I guess, is what I'm gonna give for the name of that award. Because it was just like, holy shit. Like immediately you're like, okay, this guy does not give a shit about anybody. Like he's just going to kill everybody.
Oh no. Yeah. He's a cold-hearted bastard for sure. I was really enjoying his performance throughout the episode.
Yeah. So that was awesome. That's the first one. The second one is Ahsoka. And it's only because I can't remember. This is the second episode, I think. Where, it was the second episode where they're, Ahsoka is like in midst of a lightsaber battle.
Oh yeah, in Corellia.
Trying to stop the ship from blasting, from launching off, and they're fighting, and then the person that she is fighting, I don't think we ever got the identity yet of that person, right?
The Inquisitor, I think. It's just I think the name is like Maroc or something like that. I've seen in some stuff, but I don't think we've heard it set out right yet.
Right. So that Inquisitor jumps back onto the ship and had thrown his lightsaber behind Ahsoka at one point, and there's like a bunch of smoke and all this stuff. And Ahsoka, just being as smooth as fuck, the lightsaber is coming back like a boomerang, and she just goes moves the least possible that she has to move before this thing would actually clip her or anything like that.
No wasted movement.
Just like I watched that and I was like, that was the biggest power play I have ever seen by a Jedi. Because she's just like, nope, I don't give a shit. And just barely moved. I was like,
it was really cool. The action in this is super well done.
Yeah. I just thought that was awesome. I guess smooth motherfucker is the only I could think of smoothest Jedi of the galaxy. I don't know. It was just awesome. I like I said, I enjoyed both episodes. There were tons of things in both episodes that I did really like, but those two, after watching both episodes, I was just there. I was just sitting. I was like, those were awesome. Moments of both. If I had to pick one moment out of each episode, those were the two that I was walked away going, that I'm in. For not that I wasn't in already, but those were holy shit moments to me. So but Rico, what were some of your takeaways from episodes 1 and 2?
Yeah, I'm gonna give out a couple more medals on our behalf here. First one's gonna go to David Tennant as Huyang, the droid, who obviously goes way back, obviously the Clone Wars. He's got all this knowledge of every single lightsaber that's ever been made. So if they need to know who somebody is, he can just say, this is their lightsaber. He goes, I don't think I remember that one. And then he immediately knew who Baylan Skoll was. So I think that was it's really cool that he's this character you can go to as this well of knowledge. That'll give you some really cool insight into the history of the Jedi. And to have David Tennant voicing him is just really awesome. His voice fits perfectly, I think, for the character. And I'm pretty sure he's been voicing the character for as long as he's existed. Wow. But yeah, he's just a great addition to the show. And also the Chopper, the droid. I'm telling you, this is gonna become some people's favorite droid, I think, in Star Wars, if they hadn't seen him in Rebels already. He's one of my favorites. He is just one sassy ass droid who's always back talking his friends. I just love the back and forth between him and Hera as during that same scene where Ahsoka's fighting the Inquisitor. So that alone just felt like a Rebels episode right there. You're going back and forth between the Jedi doing their thing and then the Rebels doing their stuff too, and get to see Hera be a great pilot, which is what she's known for. But there's one great scene where Chopper's going through his different tools, whatever, And you can hear it in the way he does his motions. He's like, "Did you go through my stuff?" And
Yeah.
the Hera's like, "I did not go through your stuff."
No, I did not go through your stuff.
And then you kind of hear it back like, "That's exactly what he said." So yeah, that's one of my favorite things. I just love that they're just bringing that character to life in such a great way because he's really animated as well. So they do a great job with that. But my main takeaway here is I want to talk about the importance of the opening crawl in Star Wars and how this is the first show to really give us an opening crawl. Maybe not in the same traditional way that we've seen in Star Wars movies in the past, but Filoni found a way to do it it's unique on its own, but it also sets up the story that you're about to see. So if you didn't watch Rebels, you still have some context going into that scene that you're about to watch. So yeah, I thought that was fantastic. A really good way of, again, Filoni kind of honoring George Lucas because that's his mentor, his Jedi master, and he's the Padawan. So I love that, and the music in both episodes was just classic Star Wars. Again, these past shows have, which I've loved. I love that they do their own thing, but they use different composers. But bringing back Kevin Kiner from Clone Wars and Rebels to come and do this show was like the right move for sure. Because you hear little shades of John Williams stuff in certain scenes. Like everything just feels like you're watching a Star Wars scene. And then you hear a lot of those old themes from Rebels. Sabine's got her own theme. Ahsoka's got her own theme, and you start to hear little shades of that within music. So I was really happy to see that, and some of the stuff that makes Star Wars is the opening crawl and the music. So when you hit those aspects on it perfectly, well done.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's what's really cool is just like you said, and I wasn't even thinking about it as like I was watching the episodes because I was so like fixated on I want to watch the episodes. But it's the right music there really does enhance everything, and you may not even think about it, but if it hadn't been there, it would have felt like something was different and something
mood.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's such a key component that doesn't get it overlooked is the wrong word, but it enhances so much almost in the background that you don't even think about it. It's just almost subliminally there type of thing, and that's a really cool added level of everything basically.
Yeah. And in Star Wars, the music itself has always been a character in its own way. So it's like everyone's got to have their themes, and you got to integrate those themes at the right moments, and that's exactly what Star Wars music has always been about. John Williams has done it for the last 9 movies. Kevin Kiner has done it wonderfully in the shows leading up to this. And it's one of my favorite things about Star Wars for sure is the music.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got it. The initial Star Wars theme will always be one of the biggest music for Star Wars I could ever think of. But yeah.
Yeah, I got music playing in my ear right now.
I knew you did.
I always do.
But anyway, do you want to get to some predictions?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Why don't you kick off predictions?
Okay. Let me see where I want to start here. Okay, I definitely want to start with Baylan, Skoll, and Shin Hati, of course, are dark side non-Jedis, dark side users who are wielding these very cool looking lightsabers. They're like oranges with like a reddish hue. Really love that they kind of went back into that color design as opposed to just going straight up red. But yeah, I'm very interested to learn more about these characters as the series progresses, because they kind of give off like this Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan kind of dynamic, because she's constantly asking him questions, and he's just kind of like leading, doing the master thing, like just telling her what to do, just trust me and kind of that thing. And man, rest in peace Ray Stevenson, man. Like this is gonna be like one of the last projects we see him in. He's going out with a bang for sure, because like you said, that opening scene was like, again, he reminds me a lot of Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. He's just kind of got this demeanor to him that's just kind of like, oh yeah, this guy demands respect, and you can tell he'll take it, like the respect if he needs it. So yeah, I am very fascinated by those characters and see how they play into the story later on. Curious to know who this Inquisitor character is, because this is a time well after, of course, Vader's gone, so that he doesn't have like a leader, because those are all Vader's Inquisitors. So I'm wondering like what happened to the Inquisitors after the Empire, So Very curious to see what we'll learn about this character. I'm wondering if there's a reveal in there somewhere, or if it's just a new character made for the show. I trust in Filoni. But also there's like kind of a cool reveal here in this episode. Obviously, dealing with the fallout of Rebels, Ezra Bridger and Thrawn are, they went off to somewhere we didn't know where at the end of the show. And this show is basically like they went to another galaxy, and it's pretty crazy to think about because Star Wars has always been, the galaxy far, far away, but we've never talked about going into other galaxies within the Star Wars world. So it's always just been like, dang, there's a shit ton of planets within this one galaxy that we just keep making up. But I'm very curious to see what a different galaxy within Star Wars holds for us. New species. What kind of threats does that present going forward? Because that just opens a whole new door for story content within Star Wars going. Especially if you want to break away from this Skywalker storyline, like boom, threat from another galaxy is like, okay, let's get into it. So yeah, there's some very, very intriguing stuff set up in these first 2 episodes that I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they play out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't think about that on the level that you started to with another galaxy and different things. Like, I mean, it could be crazy enough. Like, it could be, so far away from the Force that there's no Force sensitivity in another galaxy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
who knows what's going on over there?
Something so crazy different that's
Advanced tech. There could be anything. Like,
Yeah.
you're kind of you're dipping your toe into some wild waters there. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, just to add on to that, I really enjoyed that, we had these 2 opening episodes that kind of, set the stage. Like I put that in parentheses, but setting the stage for everything that's to come, but also kind of almost getting the team back together type of thing. Like, I mean, I know we didn't get, an entire giant crew back together like an Ocean's 11 movie or anything like that. But, we had, Ahsoka and Sabine, finally, getting back together to, start on this quest to.
They recreated that final scene from Rebels, which I thought was really cool.
I did watch some videos that had side by side for that, and so that looked really awesome.
Yeah, it's a great finale. Oh yeah.
Believe me, I'm going to watch Rebels. I'm just now I like the idea of me coming from the side of not watching Rebels and you coming from the side of watching Rebels. So like at least for the rest of this season, I'm going to stay away from Rebels just so that I can kind of be giving that kind of opinion to things. But
like you said, the show does a great job of catching you up on what the story is about, and then also setting up what is going to happen going forward as well. So the first 2 episodes are kind of like playing catch up a little bit, but it's good for the story.
And I think also what added to that is they didn't do it in a, you see these people
previously on.
Yeah, they didn't do something like that. They kind
like
of just,
you know.
Right. But they had subtle things. So you understand, like even not coming from Rebels, you understand that there is something hurt the relationship between Ahsoka and Sabine. And you know what I mean? Like you can gather that from context clues type of thing, even if you hadn't watched anything. It's just, I like the way that they did that. I like the way they set it up and kind of, let us sit in this world to start. And now I'm sure shit's gonna start going crazy because we don't have that many episodes. I know they're longer format episodes, but we're not gonna have that many episodes. So I really liked having that kind of beginning and stuff like that. And as far as actual predictions, like I know I kind of used predictions to say what I liked about these episodes, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, just like you said, with the introduction of another galaxy, like the sky's the limit of what could be happening next type of thing.
Another galaxy and a scary mind like Thrawn who is in that other galaxy. So who knows what kind of knowledge he's gained over there. So that's a whole nother,
Yeah. So I mean, the sky's the limit. I'm excited for next week's episode. I'm excited, for the rest of the season just to see, what other. I'm sure there's gonna be Easter eggs too. Like I'm interested to see, like
all of it.
We are in, still, 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So like we're still in that pocket of time where, a lot of things could connect to other little things that we're not expecting. And I'm excited. I'm here for all of it. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of the first 2 episodes? And, did you share my amazing, like, happy introduction with Sabine? Like, is she becoming your front runner for favorite character, or are you, team Ahsoka? I feel like no matter what, I'm always gonna love Ahsoka, but like Sabine just came out of nowhere, and I'm super excited for her character arc in this season / series in general. And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Popping Off presents That Recap Show.